3 matches down and 1 match remains. RUlette versus SIMP. 2 championship teams, one from Season 4 that went through a name change and a roster change. The other, Season 3 champions.
And has been a team that has been dominating in this league since the very beginning. And even before has been a top team. Yeah,
and has placed second place in Season 1, Season 2, and had a good run in Season 4 as well. Championship title in Season 3. So a lot of history between these two teams, and I'm looking forward to this matchup tonight. As always, please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and make sure to use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets easily and put them up on the broadcast.
Of course, and don't forget, of course, question of the day, which is what is the most well-balanced tank in the game and why? Give us your thoughts. Some people have said the T-32. I'm thinking the Pershing. Josh had a really good statement about the T-32, why he thinks it's very balanced. I think American tanks in general are very easy to approach and say that this tank is very balanced because their strengths are such that it makes sense, but they do have these weaknesses that you understand. And they're not so glaring weaknesses that they're crippling like many premium tanks like the T-34 or you run into the KV-5, E-25, things that they're great tanks, but they have a weakness which is exploitable. Things like the T-32 Pershing, it's not so big a weakness, you know?
Yeah, but you'll notice how pros use those tanks and to find out the best way to use them. And that's why a lot of people love to watch these professionals go head-to-head. And also because of the stakes. $171,000 is at stake for these teams. Let's go ahead and jump into the face-off between our 2 team representatives of RUlette and SIMP. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening. Hey, guys.
All right, let's start with Game Does Rig first. RUlette has had a difficult journey this season, coming from Season 4 being the champions. What do you hope to accomplish tonight and into the end of Season 5, Game Is Rigged?
Well, I mean, going into this season, we didn't really put as much time into it as we had hoped for. I mean, halfway through the season, especially after China, we kind of came to some realizations about the team, about how much time we wanted to commit to it, about the future of our esport, and we just kind of shrugged it off and went, okay, what happens, happens. And so that's kind of our mentality of finishing the season and going forward.
What's the mood like today in the team speak before the battle?
As always. Nothing special, nothing, just
ready to play, have fun.
Yeah.
The RUlette way. All right, Game Does Rig. Let's go ahead and check in with your opponent tonight. We have Laps, who is making a comeback with the beard, it looks like.
What can I say? I probably don't need these Joker cards, but you know, if we're going to talk about international travel and esports, you know, we went to China too, and we had kind of that existential crisis. But you know, we just decided to grab the deck of cards and keep shuffling and dealing, and we don't have to wait around and see what's happening in the esport. We can't wait to see you in the finals. Hopefully, you can beat us and get us there. But
that's how it goes. That's how Laps rolls. That's how SIMP rolls. SIMP still very, very high in the standings, currently tied up with the Cunninghams. Laps, is there anything that you hope to accomplish besides going into the playoffs at the end of this season?
No, we got our eyes on Worlds right now. There's been some stumbling. We're happy to see the format evolving. But quite honestly, we're looking at, what is it, April, May, or June? I don't know when that's going to be. But
the Worlds, they're happening in April.
We're looking past Season 5 finals right now.
Wow, already.
So. Okay, but I want to ask about how the team is right now, because I've spoken to you a little bit about this, but what has been happening with SIMP in the past few weeks, and where have they been, where are they going right now as far as the team and kind of that trouble they've been getting into?
You know, I think this can be defined in what's happened in the past, which is we walked into this season with more prep than anyone. And as a lot of new teams realized what was on the table, the feast that could be had, they've committed. And, you know, props to I Love Lamp and the teams that, you know, are really showing us what practice can bring to the table versus, you know, Penguin Mafia, who admits they don't practice. They're catching up to us. At the same time, we've been a bit stagnant because for the last 4 seasons, it's got us there. But you know, a little more energy is coming into us now because we realize we're we're going to be getting there, and it's just a matter of putting in the time and energy and figuring out the counter strats. People figured out our strats, and we're going to figure out theirs.
Yeah, you've always had something to fight for, but now you have more fight in order to earn it against these other teams. Well, Laps, always a pleasure to hear from you. Any words tonight for your opponents?
I love memorabilia from competitors we've bested. That was a great finals in Season 4, but do you guys have any tattoos or anything you could send me so I can add it to my trophy case?
Yeah, I've got a few things, I think.
Maybe RUlette does as well. Any words, RUlette?
I'm not sure you would want a photo or tattoo.
Oh, okay. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Best of luck, gentlemen. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah.
The reason I mentioned Laps's beard is because the first time we met Laps in Season 1, his beard was ginormous.
It was like
ginormous. Then when he shaved, it was a completely different person, looks-wise, but still the kind-hearted, very smart, responsible individual we've known since Season 1.
I think
Also he was a little bit gruff at the beginning as well, but then you got to know him, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, exactly. But when he shaved it, it was so weird. I'm used to the way he looks now, but when he had the beard, I got used to that, and then when it was gone, it was worse. It was so much startling a change. Look at him, but
it is. It is different. It is different. Make sure to place your bets right now, ladies and gentlemen. You always have 10 points to bet if you're just joining us tonight. You can check out the leaderboards, WGLConnect.com, to see where you stand right now. Top performers when it comes to points as an opportunity to take home a nice little prize. Badco's standing by along with our social media correspondent, Nikki, and other people in the chat waiting to help you out if you have any questions. And we've loved the responses we've gotten from people today on social media about the tanks. So make sure to keep placing those bets. It's great to see the participation and also some of the outcomes coming from some of the teams from last week in particular, from SIMP, looking at the amount of people that bet on them. I wonder how many points were lost as well.
Oh, man, so many points were lost. So many tears were shed. So many went deep into the salt mines. Then, all right, so looking at SIMP, looking at RUlette, we're always looking at Soviet. Look at Master Putin. Look at Backmanless Tappy. Look at Toplum. As has surprisingly been performing well. And then I think everyone else usually is expected to perform just well. On SIMP, we were watching for Blue Boys, Absolute Royal, and I think we're going to see where I believe it was Crimson Corsair, if he brings an Artie.
Match number 4, battle number 1. RUlette versus SIMP is about to begin. The first map will be Steps. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
All right, we have 2 IS-3s, a T-32, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and an AMX-13F3. That is RUlette the Attackers in red. The blue team SIMP, a T-32, a Pershing, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bullocks. Some maneuverability, but they still keep to a T-32. And against this heavy lineup from RUlette, which is just slow, lumbering, not the kind of a tank lineup that you can really meet face-to-face. You're going to have to wear it down. You're going to have to force them to cross great distances in open ground, to enter into engagements at a disadvantage, and only then I think SIMP is going to be able to out-damage their opponent. Because if you look at the hit points, it's actually very, very close. But
oh, Toplum is the first one to get hit for 235. Absolute Royal landed that shot.
Ouch.
And Heavy 20's moving in.
Another one.
Traded fire. Good coverage, though, from RUlette, punishing Heavy 20 by moving in to try to get that shot against Toplum.
It's just such an aggressive opening move.
Yeah, very aggressive.
But I can see why. It's because Vacuum. Look at him. He's in that AMX. He has moved all the way into Kilo Zero, and they need to keep SIMP from taking any control of that section of the map so that they can safely get that tank into the southeast and then cover him. You see Toplum, you see Master Putin, both hanging back to snipe and cover that position. In the meantime, everyone else from RUlette will be moving up slowly to take control of that portion of the map, get some spotting, and then get control of the cap. SIMP, on the other hand, needs to have a proper response to this. Their response appears to be retreat, head west, put some distance. Yes, they're going to take the cap, but we have a proper response in store. I expect it's going to be that Pershing T-32 from the north, move south and attack, while everyone else comes in from the west with a group to take the artillery piece out of the equation. At least that's my guess. I don't know if you're seeing anything different, though, Josh?
Not yet. Looking at RUlette's next movement after the 5-minute mark here, SIMP, with a control movement across Steps, can now slowly but surely take control, at least when it comes to intelligence, of where RUlette is and to set up possibly a flank into their current position. RUlette doesn't know this. They don't know that these tanks have fallen back.
No, they have some indications. Those being mostly that they're not meeting anything right now. But their setup to work with this is Putin on a high ground. He is going to be sniping at Mac, but he doesn't know that backup is here. He doesn't realize how much is really here to help out with Mac. And he's going to have to back off after taking 285 damage, dealing a little bit of his own. Cap has begun, and artillery just fired, looks like off towards the north.
And Blue Boys is hit for 390. That puts a significant punch into that 1390.
Yeah.
Fej is hit for 269. So they've discovered these tanks, and they're trying to punish him here.
They're getting peppered, too. They can't afford to stay here much longer.
Yeah,
and
it's a tough spot because of the flag cap.
Yeah, the Yurkamolo being on that right now is racking up some cap points. And this unsuccessful attack by SIMP against an artillery piece, they did approach from a blind spot, but the strategy from RUlette is such that they can put support fire in that direction. And while SIMP could take the high toll of taking out the arty and dealing with what else is there, I don't think it would be a smart play. I don't think it would really have a high chance of achieving victory. Now, SIMP is coming back, and with the cap being stopped, you're seeing a push forward by Games Rigged, Valera, and Yurkamolo. They're going to have artillery there as well, but if you look at the minimap, you're going to see SIMP. The rest of their light tanks have just about arrived, and I don't feel good for Valera. I think he's going to be taken down very quickly from Blue Boys and Heavy 20. Artillery, yes, is here to support.
Nice shot from Azpilicueta against Crimson Corsair. But now look at the movement from SIMP pushing in against these tanks that have taken significant damage. Blue Boys' captain is down. SIMP still going to have to fight, and they're running into each other. It's happened twice so far. Fej takes down Master Putin.
The momentum, though, it needs to really swing from SIMP, because as you're looking, hit points-wise, RUlette right now is ahead, 3,035 against 2,235.
And Vacuum takes down Absolute Royal as he was stuck against the rock and Adroxus is tracked, and he falls. There's only 2 tanks remaining now for SIMP, the defenders, with 2 minutes and 34 seconds. RUlette is in a great position to get the victory here.
Yeah, Fej is going to go hunting for Vacuum. He has 4 shells, enough to deal with this arty pretty well. Gets it.
He's able to take him down. Heavy 20 is 1 shot away from falling, and unfortunately, RUlette missed 2 shots as he was moving.
Yeah, and now actually he's putting some distance there. Fej is on the reload, so Heavy 20 doesn't have anyone to support him. If Az just is able to focus, settle his shell, he could probably get the damage out. He just needs to wait for Heavy 20 to make that mistake. But Heavy 20... Okay, now we're going to slow things down. Az groups up with Yurkamolo, game is rigged, they're going to force the cap, force a response from SIMP.
8 seconds left. Heavy 20 has to move in now to get the kill. I don't think he's going to make it in time. It's too far away. 3, 2, 1, and Heavy 20 moves in.
Fej as well.
Oh, we have to verify with the admin if base has been captured.
Looks like it has.
Looks like it has. RUlette will get the victory, despite these tanks trying to kill each other. It's over. And RUlette takes battle number 1. I think SIMP just got too tied up in their own pattern of movement.
It was a big problem for SIMP, I think, and that is they faced a lineup which is mixed artillery, heavy tanks. You cannot take on heavy tanks with light tanks very well when they're grouped up. The armor, the hit points, the firepower is a little bit much to deal with. So even with an overmatch of numbers from SIMP, they don't have the hit points and firepower to continue in a fight like this. They have to play more skirmish tactics as opposed to simply flanking in like a cavalry unit and just kind of going in and charging and hoping to break up the unit and continue that to victory. You can't. You're not going to survive. There's too much there to deal with. And on top of that, Adroxus here, well, it's just a bad situation. SIMP doesn't have a lot of options. They can try things, but most competent teams can work with a heavy lineup like that. And when SIMP brings attacks as they did, it's not going to work. It's going to fail. There's nothing there in their advantage. Yeah,
it's a tough spot to be in. So with that knowledge, I look forward to seeing how SIMP is going to adapt the type of strategy that they had. As the defenders, RUlette has to play their cards right, kind of piggybacking on what Laps was doing on the face-off, but they were successful once. They cannot do the same thing again. SIMP will be looking for that.
I mean, if they don't adjust properly, they could bring the same thing.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
So many different mind games can happen. So many different scenarios can happen. And it all comes down to the very first step, and that is tank selection. So battle number 2, Randall, what do we have for tanks?
Not much different, really. RUlette brings the same thing. The 2 IS-3s, the T-32, 1392 RUs, and the AMX 13F3 against SIMP's T-32 Pershing with 2 1390s RU and 2 M41 Walker Wallach. So there's not a huge difference in hit points that you see when you just look at the numbers. That's because they have the artillery piece. And Artie just has very little hit points. That's one of the balancing features that kind of came out when the Great Artie nerf of the past. Yeah. So can't take a lot of hit points of damage, but if you look at the rest of the team, it's still a healthy lineup. And if Yurkamolo, Valera, and Game is Rigged can land shells on any one simp tank, it's gone pretty much. Now, Vacuum is going to stop out in the open. That's because RUlette just recognized that simp is just going right at him. They're not going to hesitate. They're not going to allow for time for Vacuum to get set up and begin putting out fire. Fedge, though, needs to get up and over, or someone needs to... No, Vacuum is safe. Never mind.
He's okay.
He's safe. And that's simp attempting an opening maneuver, and I think they're going to pay for it. I think that MacG and Fedge are going to have a hard time getting out of this situation.
If they especially get cut off, but the 2 shots from Adroxus and Crimson Corsair trying to punish Yurkamolo and Game is Rigged. They land 1 against Game is Rigged, and MacG and Fedge, yes, if anything, they need to engage against Master Putin and get the kill against him. I mean, they're going to be in trouble.
He can just leave. However, he is on a cliff right now. Fire could start coming in from the north, and he's going to get on out of there.
Toplum takes a hit for 237. And Game is Rigged fires back towards Crimson Corsair. Does not connect.
And really, we've just seen the M41s corralled. As Az moves in, he's going to just put a shell in now, Putin. And the focus fire damage is going to be too much. While Fedge and Mac can do as much as they can, it's a loss, really.
Yeah, there's 2 tanks down now for Simp, and they're going to have to assault forward. Heavy 20 is going to move in as they get behind these IS-3s. Nice shot on the move coming from him, still using his mobility. Look at that, getting around the IS-3 and now using the T-32 to block the shot coming from Game is Rigged. Heavy 20's playing this right, but he's low. Heavy 20 takes down Yurkamolo, and there's a shot coming from Artie. It looks like that one did not quite connect. Game is Rigged is very, very low. Heavy 20 still left alive. Can Valera Desolator get the shot in time to take him down, or will Heavy 20 get behind Adroxus in time? He does. Again, Heavy 20's playing this so very well. Valera is very low.
Exactly. And one more shell into Valera. He will go down. There it is. But Toplum is here, and he's been putting in a good amount of damage. Looking at hit points on either side, RUlette, 1,000 is steadily dropping, and Simp at 3K with a healthy Crimson Corsair. I think that's important. The fact that he is still healthy.
Yeah, very healthy, and he can continue to assault forward as Toplum is taken down by Adroxus. Now, Azpilicueta is about 2 shots away from going down, and Crimson Corsair takes another hit for 226. He can still afford to get hit. He can still afford to be the tip of the spear for Simp to push in against RUlette, and now only 2 tanks remain, one of them an Artie, who misses a shot, and Master Putin is on the run.
Went right over his turret. Crimson Corsair not taking any damage for that. Now Putin tries to run. Blue Boys.
Oh, look at that drift shot. Blue Boys gets a beautiful kill against Vacuum, and now Master Putin still on the run and on the reload. Is being chased by Heavy 20 and Blue Boys captain. Heavy 20 try to head him off.
And forward he goes. I mean, at this point, it's over. Simp is won. I think RUlette fumbled that one a lot. Simp played a strong opener, but you noticed that they didn't get a lot of connections early on, and RUlette didn't really put a lot of damage back at them. They did a little bit, but it was so odd to see.
Oh, wow, Master Putin is able to get a lot of these shots dodged, or at least landing into the rocks.
I mean, 1390's firing on the move is super inaccurate.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, you can't depend on
All right,
this.
Blue Boys now turns a corner, and they both connect. Blue Boys does a little bit of ram damage. But here comes Heavy 20, and Heavy 20 is the VIP of this battle.
It really is.
What an amazing performance. Amazing performance from this tanker. We have to see his stats.
I'll take a look real quick. And Heavy 20 with 1,111. 1,111. I love that number for damage. He doesn't do the most damage. It's the way he plays in this battle that is most important. And you pointed this out. I love that you focused on this, because this is what's made the fight happen so well. Heavy 20 goes all the way around playing the clown car, and he uses his allies as cover, but you can tell that his are intentionally also positioning themselves to help him out. And you can see how each tank of RUlette is just wants that kill so much, and they delay firing upon other opponents in order to try and get that kill. And it's a 390 damage shell, for example, out of an IS-3 for, what is it, like a 300 or 400 hit point, 1390. So Heavy 20 did his job. He accomplished so many little things that you can't really quantify easily. We could say how much time did he waste and kind of time it in replays or something, but difficult.
That was forcing the behavior of your opponent, which was an amazing tactic. It really is when it comes to any type of warfare, but especially tanks. Forcing the opponent to focus on you when you're low and then be able to get out of the way. I really love that type of play because it shows the power of Simp. It shows the level, the detailed level that they play at. And as you mentioned beautifully, the slight changes in position of his teammates to give him cover. Now, with the tables turning on steps where Simp is going to be on the attack and RUlette will be on the defense, the choice now has to come to either team. Will Artie be a continued presence, or will we see even more shifts when it comes to tank lineups? And the one who has the answer to that question is a man sitting next to me. It's Randall. What do we have for tanks?
Well, we don't have any Artie this time, Josh. It looks like teams are going to switch it up, go away from the Artie. It's kind of been a back and forth, unreliable. Maybe next time. 2 T-32s at 1390, 3 RU-251s, and a 59-16 for RUlette. The red team now defending, Simp attacking. It's going to have a 1390, 4 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. It seems very natural when you switch sides like this not to continue playing the Artie game. RUlette plays the Artie game pretty well. Simp, they have Crimson Corsair. I need not say more. Their Artie game is the strongest.
It is the strongest.
So
it is the strongest for sure.
Yeah. Now,
based on performance of Crimson Corsair, obviously.
No, based on facts. Based on the laws of the universe. I'm not biased in this at all. No, he's done really, really well.
Heavy 20 takes a big hit.
Where?
From where? Or did he fall off somewhere?
Valera.
Oh, Valera Desolator?
No, not Valera?
Yeah,
trying to
one
look at
shot,
reloads.
one hit, 324 damage.
Yeah,
That was from Valera.
There we go.
Well, that was early.
Yeah. I didn't think he would be able to get the shot. When I looked at his position, I said to myself, that's not possible.
Well, he lands another one.
And on Fedge.
That's on Fedge.
Backham as well is able to land the first shell. He follows it up. The two of those two T-32s are doing work. And then Putin needs to watch restarting. Putin, please. Yeah. That's kind of how I imagined it. Like, just like slightly annoyed. Putin, come on, buddy. I mean, you've been doing this.
All right, well, Simp's going to have to figure out what to do, being down almost 1,500 hit points here, even over that. 1,800 hit points. Another shot long, right shot coming from Topolium over to the rocks. Does not connect with anything yet. Whoa, 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 whoa. Fedge is hit. And he was not, he was spotted. Never mind, he was spotted.
Yeah, he's lit. Game is rigged is in a really forward position. I think I should probably point it out.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, is passive in a bush, can get spotted by blue boys, I believe. Although, actually, that tree might be perfect. Like, the fact that in order to spot Game is rigged, you have to go up and over. The elevation might be such that blue boys can't simply peek to get him. He has to come within 50 meters. Although, there's blind fire going towards... No, Game is rigged to spot. Okay. There we go. 427. One more.
And there he goes.
Okay.
And two tanks are still spotted, Aspilicueta and Valera Desolator. But they may sift back into the darkness that is the fog of war.
Well,
but not yet. Mac G is spotted on the other side, though.
On a slightly less scary note, Game is Rigged was... I want to explain the situation around what just happened with Game is Rigged. You had Blue Boys, Mac G, other members of SIMP recognizing that they were being spotted from a certain angle. And you recognize when you kind of peek out, you let yourself get spotted, you see Sixth Sense pop up, and you say, okay, I went this far. These angles exist that can spot me. And a moment later, you say, okay, where's the most likely one? All right, well, we know they're to the north of our position and to the east, because that's where I had to go out, and those are the positions that can spot me. Then they figured out, Game is Rigged is over there. Well, send Blue Boys to proxy spot. Once that happens, you have a spotted tank you can take down very easily. Verified his position, everything.
Base cap, 43 seconds. Topolium gets hit as he pokes up, gets hit again. Sim's continuing to punish any of these tanks that are popping up, and there goes Fedge, finally.
But the cap continues, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
That's Mac on the cap, right behind where Fedge was. And Max in, an M41 Walker Bulldog.
He is. He's right there.
He has to get the perfect silhouette. He can't afford to really vary too much. And I guess Heavy 20 is going, but Yurkamolo from RUlette is moving up to get the spotting. Does find Mac.
And gets 2 shots on Mac, and Heavy 20 falls right next to Mac G. Mac G still lives. Still lives, and there goes Mac G.
Simp doesn't stand much of a chance in this battle now. They're going to have to reassess the situation, think about the next battle from now on. Yeah, okay, yeah, I think it's pretty much over at this point. Their entire strategy fell apart. They don't have time to come up with something new. They don't have the firepower to even execute on something like that.
Even trying to punish any of those tanks that are straggling, none of them are. Yurkamolo is up to the front. Everybody else is hanging back in the northeastern valley. And Toplum is the lowest tank out of all of RUlette, but they've only lost 1. 3 are down for Simp.
Yeah, it's pretty much over. I don't know why RUlette isn't really pushing it to a close. Maybe they don't want to give Simp damage. Don't let them pad their stats.
And York's going to have to fall back. Yeah, they don't want to pad those stats at all.
Or maybe they don't realize how much they have. You know, you've got rather healthy tanks on Simp side. Blue Boys, Crimson Corsair, Absolute, and Adroxus. If you really did want to fumble that badly, you could, I think, throw this battle. But RUlette would really have to go in like 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. And maybe an ammo rack or 2 or something. But Simp right now, I don't really give him much of a chance.
Well, 1 minute and 52 seconds for that chance to become a reality here for Simp. But where do you think things were going wrong for Simp? I saw a lot of
that cap.
Almost free shots against RUlette.
The strategy coming right out. What is go for the cap? Pressure north cap.
Yes.
They haven't developed too many strategies and little tactics around digging those positions out and punishing them for being in predictable positions. There are strategies that exist, but they're not centered around the northwest cap and achieving that and using that as a pressure point. Usually we'd see an engagement, something where they're going to close the distance and use something to draw out their opponent. Usually that's the cap, and you start engagement off of that. But most teams like RUlette have got pretty good at stopping the cap without requiring all that much information. And so you're in a situation like this where, yeah, Simp tried real hard, but RUlette's answers are automatic. And
yeah, they had the right answers. They had the right answers for what Simp tried to accomplish, and now RUlette leads 2-1 against Simp on steps. We'll see one more battle on steps until we'll move on to Prohorovka, where Simp will start off on the attack. I think also the potential of mobility that happened, or that came from the tank selection of RUlette, changed the dynamic of what was happening on the battlefield, and because they didn't have Artie, and that also helped as well.
Maybe. Simp did attempt a cap, though. And I feel like a cap-centered strategy, expecting an Artie isn't what you're doing. You're expecting them not to bring an artillery piece, because an Artie can answer to cap very easily, especially something like an M44 or the AMX, F3.
Mm-hmm.
Those tanks, when there's the cap going on, they have the opportunity to fire into places that T-32s are going to have more trouble, or into places that you can cover the cap easier. You can also multiply your effective firepower in different parts of the map. I think that both teams expected to not run into an Artie piece, expected not to have to deal with that, and so built their strategies and their play around that. Simp made a mistake. Their strategy was not deep enough in this battle. They didn't expect to need it, and it really bit them, especially when they tried the cap fast.
Well, now we have to look at what Simp is going to try to bring to the table as the attacking side in battle number 4 here. I think that the northern section could be a very possible option of trying to engage against that northeast valley, but again, RUlette has it on such a lockdown right now. It's going to be tough for Simp to break through the defenses, for any team to break through any of the defenses here on steps, but it is possible. As we move into battle number 4, Randall, what do we have for tanks?
We have 2 T-32s, 1390, 3 RU-251s, and a 5916 for the red team, RUlette. On defense, Simp blue on attack, 1390, 4 RU-251s, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. High mobility, but not nearly the hit points that RUlette brings to the battlefield. Valera and Vacuum, in hold down, are going to be brutal. If Simp can close the distance, catch some tanks out, then we've got a real battle for us. Also, look at the way Simp is attacking right now. That is bold, and that is risky, And that could get them, yeah, there's
one shot. The shot was close.
I don't know if they were spotted right then. I did not see any indicators. I think that was
could be
blind
blind
fire
fire.
for the specific rock in which they actually drove very closely to. So the opening move from Absolute Crimson and Adroxus is just a blitz right to the middle road, leave Heavy 20 behind, and then take control of the north again. But what's going to be different? What are they going to vary?
They're looking for, in my opinion, looking for punishment, trying to find any of those roulette tanks moving out to either scout or get a shot on Simp. And this is where it's a really tough scenario for either team, is that you have to be available to get the shot, and most of the times to get the shot, you're going to be out in the open. And that's the toughest thing in the first 2 minutes for either of these teams to decide.
Yeah, but the strategy from RUlette is obviously not going to involve some kind of weird roaming scout.
Nope,
they even pulled Game is Rigged out of the position he went to last time. He is now safely behind his own lines, where he's not going to get taken down by a systematic scout hunt. And from here, it's all a matter of time. Game is Rigged can watch the south, verify that nothing sneaky from Simp is coming. Simp can continually try and put pressure on RUlette.
The possibilities can only be diminished based on time at this moment. And 2 tanks have been spotted on the side of RUlette. That's Vacuum and Valera. 2 tanks, Fej and Adroxus, so far as we get close to the 5-minute mark. It was Simple Tankers that had probably the best strategy we've seen on this map in quite some time tonight.
Yeah, I think so. But you're seeing RUlette, Simp really respect each other, I think. And in that they're not trying anything sneaky, not trying anything out there, not trying anything that's going to throw us off too much, or rather throw convention out the window, maybe. Because they consider this really important. Simp can't lose here because the Cunninghams, they can't be overtaken by them. Now, something weeks ago I said was that I didn't expect the Cunninghams to overtake Simp, but I had worked it out and said, well, they could.
It's a possibility.
Simp would have to really lose, and at the time Simp had not lost, but now that there are opponents out there that can reach that high level of play to beat teams like Simp and the Cunninghams, we're seeing that actually happen. So the pressure's on for Simp. They don't want to lose here. Even a tiebreaker could mean that the Cunninghams take first place from them.
And the stakes are the seed for the finals. The top 2 teams in the season, at the end of the season, at the end of Thursday night, are automatically seeded into San Francisco. They're going to San Francisco. It's the other 2 teams that will be decided by playing through the playoffs with the other 8. So it's 10 teams that make it through. 2 are automatically seeded into the finals. The other 8 have to play through the playoffs. Simp does not want to lose that post. They do not want to lose that position.
And they don't want to go through a playoffs again where something like the Arbus match of last season could happen to them.
Right. More shots heading towards the flag cap here. None of them have connected. And now Simp are starting to punish RUlette as they're moving closer to the flag cap.
Yeah, Yurkamolo getting closer and closer is going to be able to cap. No, Simp is going to pull off cap, removing that risk. I love that move. Thank you. Timing it just so that when Yurkamolo is finally exposed, fire can begin moving in on him. You take off the bait. You keep them alive. They're still guns in the battlefield. Heavy 20, sits Yurkamolo on fire. He does not have a fire extinguisher anymore.
Burns. Heavy 20 gets that kill.
Nice. Disco Inferno.
Unfortunate, but you don't have those modules. That's what can happen. And now Simp puts their tanks back on the flag cap. More shots heading towards MacG and Fej. So close to hitting those tanks. And notice how MacG goes back to the position where that shot landed, thinking, hey, lightning can't strike twice, and it worked perfectly. Look at that. MacG's not going to move back to the position he was in.
Do it. This is how you dodge Artie that's blind firing you. It's one way, at least.
2 shots blind fire, real close, right between Fej and MacG.
And shots fired from Blue Boys. He's managing to get damage into Vacuum and Valera. More
Fej is hit. 476. Ouch. He's going to head toward. He's going to get off the flag cap. It's going to be MacG only on the flag cap now. 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Simp
Fej was spotted.
trying to find an opening into the defenses of RUlette here.
And way down south, by the way, Game is Rigged has been playing a game of Mountain Goat and is perhaps even going to join the battle sometime. He's actually been to the south this whole time. The rest of the team, RUlette, has been holding strong. And you can see they're getting ready for Simp's advance, or their own. See
Yeah, they're
top
getting
lane.
for their own advance.
Ooh, top lane's up and over, followed by Master Putin as they are going to be taking fire.
And look at that
Simp
trade
is
of fire.
right there waiting for him.
And that's that bait that they were waiting for, and they've diminished the hit points of RUlette. They've taken down one of their tanks. They have the lead, and they need to press the advantage. Game is Rigged is so far away as the defender that if they can't find him, this is another victory for RUlette. Heavy
Possibly.
20's now going to push in.
I think Master Putin's going to start running. MacG will meet him. Valera is going to get focused, but I'm worried about Mac. Mac, I don't think, can take on and hold Master Putin off for very long. And that could mean that you're going to see RUlette win this one on time simply because they found an out. They found an escape.
And Vacuum is the next one to fall, as Simp will move to the north to take down Master Putin and Azpilicueta. Topple him. Where is his position? All the way to the north. He's going to be ignored for the time being. Game is Rigged. Probably climbed to the highest point of the mountain he can find in his tank.
He did, actually. He's in a very difficult to achieve position.
While Simp is in a, this is either stay here and hopefully topple him, can't get a reset. And if he does, this could be a very significant victory for RUlette.
It really is. Taking the first map 3-1 against Simp. Steps is a map that they've performed on very well. They have a good record on it. Attack, defense, it doesn't matter. They have so much experience. They're well practiced.
Oh, there was a shot fired, or it could have been tanks hitting each other.
Toplum
8
has an
seconds
angle.
yet. Oh, right through the tanks. Does not connect. They fire back at Toplum. MacG's going to push forward.
One more connection on top limb. That's all they need. They missed
3
it.
seconds left. Can they get it? Yes, base has been captured. Simp barely holds that flag cap. Toplum tried very hard to get a reset. And now they tie up the series 2-2.
I'd given it to RUlette at that point. That's like game is rigged all the way to the south. Time left in the battle. Number of tanks left from RUlette. It seemed like everything was adding up for RUlette victory. But
Well, the game is rigged position was the linchpin. It really was. But it was a smart play by Simp to put those tanks there beyond the risk, right? Hey, we don't know where top limb is, probably the north side. If he resets and we lose. This is the only thing we can do. And they did it, and they got it, and they won. Very well done. And also, no tanks were killed on the side of Simp.
look, you should also pay attention to the fact RUlette failed to get the kills. RUlette really messed up here. That's what happened when it came to defending the cap. They should have been able to make the connections, make the delays, and then still be able to play the time clock. But for some reason, they failed to do that. Now we can give it to Simp. It's a confusing situation. It's high stress. Your hands are shaking. You know, your palms are sweating. Whatever. Mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah, I mean, you got that. RUlette should have made the shots.
Yeah. And
It's the end of the day. They should have made the shots.
I mean, the amount of pressure for any of these teams that are competing in the Gold League can be astronomical because this is the last week of group play. And when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the trenches, all you're paying attention to is the current battle at hand, right? Obviously, the end result is out there, but you have to focus on what's right in front of you. There is nothing else after this week for these teams. And so the pressure, astronomical, yes. Does it affect teams? Absolutely. But imagine the pressure for when they're on stage in San Francisco. And that's why we're trying to find the best of the best here.
I mean, look at the Cunninghams and Elevate, or at the time Bernal Empires in Rumble in the West. They have experience on stage, but not on a stage like Rumble in the West, where it was a packed house, right?
Yeah, packed house in Poland in, I forget the name of the city we were in.
Poznan?
Poznan, thank you.
yeah,
I apologize, Poland.
I mean,
Poznan.
Slips your mind sometimes. But in Poznan, yeah, I watched it. It was a big, energetic crowd. I think it's a stressful situation to be in. But here, right now, this should be something they can control.
And this is what makes them a professional. Not exactly when things go right, but also when things go wrong, or not necessarily in your favor. Battle number 5 taking place on Prohorovka. New map. The attackers will be Simp. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
We have 2 T-32s for either side, a single 1390 for either side, but RUlette's going to go with 3 RU-251s and a 5916, going for that extra tier 8 and a tier 6, whereas Simp will opt for 2 RU-251s and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs, taking, instead of the extra tier 8, 2 tier 7s. And I tend to lean towards those 2 tier 7s right now, because there are some M41 plays that are just stunning.
Oh, MacG.
Oh, look at Fedge in his opening scout and gets real nice and aggressive. Takes a hit, 223. Could have taken even more from Valera or Vacuum, as they were moving right up the middle. Now, Crimson and Adroxus are moving at about the same pace to about the same spot on the map. And while we have a moment, actually, I need to announce the results of Timed Out Cunninghams. I believe that I'm being told that timed out forfeits to the Cunninghams, and they will not be playing tonight.
That's what I heard as well. So that's another victory for the Cunninghams, which makes it even higher stakes for SIMP tonight to get a victory against RUlette.
They can't afford a tiebreaker. That will mean they fall behind.
And that will mean Cunninghams will be our #1 team with 1 day remaining. That would be crazy. But anything is still possible. SIMP's not out of this yet. RUlette's making them fight for it. And now as the attacker SIMP, if they're able to get one victory here, that really could change the momentum.
Let's talk about, though, the pressure that's on RUlette. They come back from China. They have to make up three battles, right, that they have missed in the meantime. That's a lot. That's not including the number of battles that they have to still participate in while they're attempting to make those up. That's pressure of a condensed schedule beyond that of what is expected of anyone else in the league. So there's a lot of pressure. They knew that when they were going, but it's still a lot of pressure. So they don't fare well in those makeups. They lose. And they get one that is, I believe, a walkover.
Ooh, SIMP in the south.
But they need these wins. If they don't get these wins, they can't go to playoffs. They can't go to playoffs, they don't have a chance at finals.
SIMP now pushing into the village on the east side.
Now shots fired, T-32s have met in hold down. Very slight angle, just a little bit of space for them to connect with each other. And the shift from RUlette is to move south while their opponent moves northeast. Yurkomolo will remain up north as an RU to cover the approach of SIMP. He will begin taking fire, Fedge from the east, and even more, actually, as he's going to retreat from that position into the low ground.
And SIMP has put one tank on the flag cap. Absolute Royal going to head in towards Yurkomolo, who's the only tank of the north. SIMP doesn't know that, but Absolute Royal may have a guess, as he's seeing no other tanks spotted as he pushes in. Yurkomolo
is going to be overmatched.
He can definitely be overmatched. And Heavy 12, look at that shot coming from the south as the center section of SIMP is moving across, engaging upon those tanks in the center section. Vacuum does take down a Droxus, but York will, well, no, never mind. It's Absolute Royal.
And here it comes as Toplum move in, take down Crimson Corsair. Now, Blue Boys just out of shells. Fedge, MacG have plenty, but not enough damage between them to take down Valera, Az, and Toplum. They can push forward. And Game is Rigged to the south can come in for support. I'm waiting for Putin to be reloaded, and he has plenty of damage waiting to be just opened up onto Blue Boys or Mac. I'm wondering why they're not going for it.
I think they're very cautious of whoever's to the north that could punish them. MacG takes a hit. He's still waiting for the reload.
Toplum peeks up and over. Looks like he had the shot and everything.
I'm waiting for Blue Boys Captain to be reloaded. I think SIMP is waiting for Blue Boys Captain to be reloaded and before they engage again.
Yeah, he's
and
giving
Blue Boys is in a great position to take down Valera Desolator. One shot and another, and there he goes. RUlette's trying to push up towards the center. MacG's falling back, doing any damage that he can, and Heavy 20 takes down Master Putin, and there goes MacG. Blue Boys Captain with 4 shots remaining, fires on the move. Unfortunately, that's a big miss against Azpilicueta, and Game is Rigged is going to push up against Blue Boys Captain. Blue Boys trying to do any damage that he can, while Game is Rigged is going to get some excellent shots to the side. Blue Boys fires back. He has one more shell, and he misses. Toplum now being engaged against Absolute Royal is low. Blue Boys Captain's on the reload. Absolute Royal fires again. One more shot. Toplum will fall. Absolute Royal is in trouble, though. And he falls. Game is Rigged is able to get the kill. Blue Boys Captain's going to crash into Toplum, and he gets the victory, at least in that 1v1. And now it's up to Game is Rigged and Blue Boys Captain to
Game is Rigged has so much damage he can put out in such a short amount of time, though. And that's the advantage of the 59-16. He just has to get close enough and get the hits.
Blue Boys Captain has to keep distance. Is waiting to reload. There's one. Blue Boys Captain cannot get it, and RUlette takes another victory. They lead 3-2 against SIMP. That was close.
Yeah.
That was real close.
This is looking much better, though, for RUlette. If they get this win, this is a lot for them. This means that they can make it to our playoffs, even though they've had so much wrong in the season. This is looking up. This is a team they're starting to get back together. During the pregame interview, I didn't feel confident after looking at Games Rigged. But they're turning it around. They're playing very well tonight. And it is curious that SIMP used to be dominant, and then all in a week or two, it turns around and everyone is able to, take a fight to them.
Yeah.
But you have to give it to RUlette in handling the situation. I saw the right decisions being made by most of the players from RUlette. There was a little hesitation in the middle, which I think could have won this a little harder for them. But Game is rigged, played it proper. Everyone else made the right decisions, made the right moves. Maybe time, little preference, but
Blue Boys captain missed one shell. If he hadn't missed that shell, he may still have one left in his chamber ready for that tank coming towards him.
maybe.
The previous fight. Again,
And that's his
such
shell.
it's more of like what it's such a what if thing that like you can't be like, oh, Blue Boys captain, you should have done it this way. It's
What about Absolute
RNG
Royal?
sometime.
What about Absolute Royal? What about Heavy 20? What
Yeah.
about Mac? What about Crim? What about Adroxus? What about Fedge?
I
What
know,
about
right?
all
It's a
of
team
them?
effort. It's
Yeah.
a team effort, especially when it was a 59-16 that was left.
Exactly.
For roulette. And sometimes that's all it takes, guys, is one lonely 59-16. We saw Fedge in a T1 Cunningham last season get the kill against the last remaining 1390, which allowed Simp to make it into the playoffs in the previous season. Battle number 6. Roulette currently leads 3-2 against Simp on Prohorovka, as Simp will attack for one more time. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
We have 2 T32s for either side, 1390 for either side, 2 RU251s and 2 M41s for Simp, whereas Roulette sticks with their 3 RUs and the 59-16. I after that last battle, I might be able to accept, 59-16. Still a good strategy. I can say M41s are great, but you have to give respect to a 59-16.
Definitely.
And for
it's a little tank that could.
For some very specific reasons, its strengths in that it deals so much damage. Well, sorry, a very respectable amount of damage in a very short amount of time, which you have to give it credit. It doesn't have sustained damage, doesn't have a lot of hit points, doesn't have a lot of armor, or it's not the fastest, it's not the best at a lot of things. But what it does, and it's little detail, like coming in at the end of a battle to 1v1 against someone who's damaged and finishing him off, that's where you're going to see it shine.
Yeah.
Game's rigged. He couldn't have asked for a better situation.
Aspilicueta to that north side is hit for 169. He's going to fall back, saying, hey, you know what? I don't need to stay here.
That's fine. It's fine.
I'm done.
It's fine. You can have it.
Fine. Just fine. All right, well, the rest of Roulette are up in the northwest, and Simp's going to take advantage of that by putting some tanks on the flag cap, while Valera Desolator and Vacuum will cruise over towards the railroad tracks. 35 seconds left.
I think cruise is the perfect word, too, because I moved to vacuum.
He's just dun, 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 dun. He's moving as fast as he can.
I'm imagining him putting, some, like, aviators on,
Yeah.
throwing some trucker music on.
Yeah.
Just being like, yeah, let's rock
Wow.
out.
Eastbound and down. Absolute Royal takes a shot to the front.
Putin does as well, as
Yeah.
he tries to close the distance.
Oh, Heavy 20. Heavy 20 could get overmatched here as Absolute Royal fires. I'm not sure if he was aiming for Toplum or not, but they're trying to hold back Roulette as long as they can, looking for track shots.
Az is trying to get the spotting on the captain.
9 seconds.
There's the reset. On to Mac, 337 damage. And that was
Absolute
dangerous.
Royal.
That was
Yeah.
really close. Now they're going to keep the pressure on Fedge and Mac on the cap, while Simp attempts to put more pressure, and I think it might be an up and over waiting to happen with Blue Boys Absolute and Heavy 20. Oh no, they're just trying to punish Valera, but they need to make a few more connections to make this work. As Valera's not tracked out there, he's not taking quite as much damage as the effectiveness of what he's putting out, because Mac, Fedge are damaged, but they're not dead. Not yet.
Yeah, Toplum takes another hit.
And it's going to be a very slow kind of...
Slow crawl, slow push to continue to do more damage.
Exactly. Game is rigged, though. Playing kind of... He's a ninja, man. Look at him. Just
Mac
running.
G up and over. Talk about ninjas. He's trying to get behind. Well, he's a dead ninja. Master Putin on the run takes a hit for 389. And he continues to move away from the firefight as Fedge falls next. Valera Desolator now on the reload.
And to the south, Vacuum getting 2v1'd. Adroxus Crimson trying to take him down, but there's a little support in Toplum. But they just pop over every time they're reloaded.
Oh, Valera is able to bounce a shot against Heavy 20. Blue Boys captain is so low. Look at that. They turn all their turrets over towards him. He's going to have to get behind the rocks. Heavy 20 can't move into support, and there goes Blue Boys captain. 3 tanks remain to 6 from Roulette.
And it really is astonishing.
It's astonishing, yes, but Roulette it's like they're barely one step ahead of Simp, and it's really paying off for him.
It doesn't even seem like they're trying to do that, though. It seems like Simp is walking into that. In this situation, it seemed like that to me.
Aspilicueta takes down Heavy 20. 2 tanks remain for Simp now. 4 still on the battlefield for Roulette, and it's coming down to a game of chase a little bit. Aspilicueta could go up and over the railroad tracks, simply fire his shell into Adroxus and get the kill. Crimson Corsair 2 shots away until
You
he
say
falls.
simply, but this is Adroxus. Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I was about to be like, he's going to position himself perfectly.
Vindicated. All right. Crimson Corsair is the last tank left alive.
Adroxus.
Azpilicueta lands another shot from the north, Randall. I don't know if you saw it, but it just happened. One more hit and Crimson Corsair will fall. And
gosh, darn it, Adroxus.
sorry, it's all circumstances,
Oh, no, it
Randall.
totally is.
All we're pointing out is circumstances.
I just hate that he did that exactly as I was saying.
And there he goes. And RUlette now is one battle away from taking this series against SIMP. It was a bit of that kind of smile coming from the face-off where it's like, hey, we're going to play this the same as we always play it. We're going to have fun. This is a lot of fun for RUlette. And as you mentioned, they have to get the victory here. Not a tiebreaker victory, a full victory in order to even join us in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go check the standings real quick. RUlette sitting at 16 points has to get a good 3 to overtake Fun Gaming or Arbus. Teams that, well, there's a good chance that Arbus and Fun Gaming can get above that, but if RUlette plays like this, if they keep beating teams like SIMP, then they really have a good chance.
Taking a look at what's happening on the battlefield in the replay, you can see that Valera Desolator holds significantly long enough to get that kill against the SIMP tank, and then from a distance, Heavy 20 continues to get punished. He cannot help Blue Boy's captain whatsoever. RUlette knows it, we know it, the American people know it, and unfortunately, SIMP can't bounce back from that. That is called coverage, folks, and RUlette had it down pat.
They had their crossfires in order. They had their lanes open. They had everything covered. It was the right play. But SIMP decides to go up and over when they should very well be able to punish these tankers who are stopping the cap. Just before they even decide to begin that engagement, it seemed to me that RUlette was not in a position to really win. They can deal damage on cap, sure, but they can group up better, sure, but it seemed like SIMP was going to be able to slow play it out and win that way, but they decided not to, and I think they threw it away at that point. Going into this, it's if they can keep it together, because, I don't know, SIMP's been rough these past few weeks. They're not getting the wins that they're used to. This is very
uncharacteristic?
Uncharacteristic is what I was looking for, thank you.
Well, the league continues to change, and as we see teams getting better and better and better, RUlette may have finally bounced back from the rut they were stuck in after their travel to China.
You're right, and well, the rut that they've been in most of the season, not quite getting those results, not quite playing as well as they need to in order to play like that championship team of last season, like Season 4's winners.
So what do we have for tanks now, Randall, on battle number 7?
We do have a bit of a change-up. Instead of that T-37, we're going to have an AMX 13F3 from RUlette on their attack. They'll bring those T-32s, 1393 RUs as normal, but just Nardi this time. T-32, 1390, 2 RU-251s, 2 M41
Heavy 20 gets hit.
SIMP.
Oh, it's the first shot that connects against SIMP here.
And look at the way RUlette opens up. They establish their control over the middle of the map. They punish a little bit onto tanks that are exposed, backing off just in time for T-32s to begin taking up position. Those tanks, those light tanks that took the middle quickly, are going to begin backing off and taking far off positions where they can snipe. RU-251s, not the greatest snipers in the game, just good snipers. Really good snipers. Heat shells help a little.
Valera fires a blind shot. He is spotted still.
Okay, for a moment I wanted to look at the minimap. Yurkamolo is beginning to move up the one line. I don't expect he's going to go all the way. I think that would be a mistake. Now Yurkamolo is spotted, puts a shot into Mac. He will go down, but return fire on Yurkamolo. He turns sideways, trying to juke around. He's going to take a little fire, and he's tracked. Yurkamolo being stopped like that. A few more shells. And actually, I don't think he's spotted. He's not spotted anymore.
Okay, well, he's able to get out of there quickly.
For now. I mean, we see a little more blind fire coming down.
Valera's hit. Valera's going to be the next target coming from SIMP. 974 out of 1550 left on his tank.
And we've got Artie aiming right towards Crimson Corsair. Right towards Adroxus. I'm expecting shell to land rather soon. There it is. Towards Adroxus. Doesn't deal as much damage. At all, actually. None.
And more shots heading towards Valera. You see RUlette hanging further back. They are the attackers. They're no longer the defenders here. So they have to push in at some time against SIMP. And looking at the hit point value, it's pretty close.
You have that going for you,
It's
but
about 64 hit point difference.
we could see one of the light tanks kind of move off and begin working a flank as Master Putin, Yurkomolo. They're going to start heading east. And with that, they will find themselves a lonely Fedge, which, you know, all power to you, Fedge, but I don't think you could take on those 3. But this
Well,
could
he gets hit for 1 for 261. Another shot from Azpilicueta does not connect, and Fedge is going to be moving as quickly as he can. But Master Putin, Azpilicueta can overtake him, at least in damage. Azpil's going to jump over the railroad tracks. He's being very cautious, though, understandably.
Yeah, you want to make sure there's nothing sneaky going on. Now, the big hit to Crimson Corsair. Artie does make the connection, but now that we have 3 tanks spotted, Heavy 20, Absolute Royal have begun moving up. Blue Boys is also on the way. Valera is being they're being more aggressive towards him, and so he will go down to Heavy 20, moving in. Where do they follow to next? I think they might just take control and...
Yeah, I think it's map control now. It's pushing
No,
these
it's going to continue.
T-32s.
Absolute Royal has gone in against Game is Rigged. Artie fires for 306. Game is Rigged is on fire, and the
he's in
support
trouble.
finally comes in, but it's delayed. Blue Boys looked like he didn't expect to have to go there. Absolute Royal may have overplayed.
And he goes down. Crimson Corsair and Adroxus are now on the high ground, and they cannot get down to that death blade because they won't be able to fire against Master Putin or Azpilicueta. They're firing against Toplum now. Vacuum from a distance will have a great shot against them if they stay in that region. And Blue Boys captain trying to push up is very low.
But he needs to find Artie. They need to take Toplum down. Yes, that's great if they can. But I think once Vacuum is down, it's going to mean a lot more because he can deal some significant damage. He's dealt some damage already this battle. And with Blue Boys where he is, I think if he keeps doing loops like this, Vacuum's going to just kind of pick him off on one of these loops. He is going to start moving back. Toplum attempting to take up a bush position. And Blue Boys is hunting.
Oh, Blue Boys is low. 253 on that shot. And Crimson Corsair
no!
hits Blue Boys captain. The shot intended for Toplum.
Well, Blue Boys, he went to the right instead of the left. He should have gone right. And now Toplum had cover in that instance.
Friendly fire. It's not friendly.
No.
Well, Vacuum, I haven't seen a shot come from him in a while. He has 2 of these T-32s that are
Shot
spotted.
out.
Oh, there we go. And that one misses.
A little short. It's a hard shot. You're on that downhill.
Yeah, definitely is.
You're either going to go short or you're going to go long most of the time. And now we have as Master Putin and Yurkomolo with the ability to go for a cap, where Heavy 20 and Fedge are going to go hunting for Artie, which I'm sure they'll love. Although, is Vacuum going to be loaded?
Oh, Vacuum gets hit. Oh, he's low. And Vacuum goes down. Fedge gets that kill.
Nice. Now, on the cap, 3 tanks. Yurkomolo as Master Putin. 26 seconds.
And the closest tanks to get over to them are the 2 T-32s, the slowest tanks on the battlefield right now.
The timing of this attack, you could... I'm if intentional from RUlette, brilliant. If not, good reaction and great
13
improvisation.
seconds left. Toplum trying to hold, trying to track any of these tanks moving up. Heavy 20 is going to be targeted first, the fastest moving tank, that RU-251. 6 seconds left. Heavy 20 is trying to move in as quickly as he can. Toplum takes him down. 3 seconds left. The T-32s are not going to make it. 1 second left, and RUlette does it. They capture the base. They take the series 5-2, and RUlette stays alive to make it into the playoffs, depending upon what happens on Thursday. But it looks like hope is kindled for them.
Yeah, this match meant they can get in or not. Because if you look at Fun Gaming and you look at Arbis, they are the 2 teams that have been slowly gaining points, and then as soon as they gain some points, another team, 1 or 2, is denied entry into the playoffs because they've achieved that threshold. They can no longer pass. RUlette, still one of those teams that can pass the threshold. Noble, I don't think, and Top Tier, I think are in a rough place to be able to join us at the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's down to that. And RUlette, with this win, is going to be, I believe, at 19 points, which would put them 1 point ahead of Arbis and Fun Gaming.
That friendly shot.
As they are on
that friendly shot and that replay, man, that's such a crushing blow.
It really is. The
Such
final
a
battle
crushing
like
blow.
that. Yeah.
Well, Simp, they're still in the top 2, most likely. We'll take a look at the standings in just a couple seconds here. But
they're still second for now.
They're still second for now. Cunningham's didn't even have a match tonight. It was a forfeit victory against Timed Out. So things can still flip for them in the final group day on Thursday. But it's a tough time for Simp. It's not the hardest of times, obviously. I mean, other teams are having a hard time, but
we can't know that. We
Yeah.
can't know that this isn't really just that rough. This could be one of those ones, but it's hard to speculate as to whether or not they're falling apart, they're in decline, they're just having a rough time, everyone's
No,
catching up. I think mostly
no,
everyone's
there's no
catching
way.
up.
Everyone's catching up. There's no
But-
way Simp, a team that has the fortitude to be together for so long, from a clan, one of the biggest clans in North America, to be falling apart like this. If there's any sort of changes they need to make, yeah, we'll probably see at the end of next season. But the retirement of Mac G and the leadership of Blue Boys captain is a shift for their team.
But they went back away from that.
Yeah.
Mac G went back into control. Other players stepped up and started leading because they weren't ready for that kind of a hard transition where you just take Mac G, you just take him out of the seat and you put someone else there and have them fulfill the same
All
role.
right, I agree with you in the sense that they're not ready, but listen, any type of transition is going to have a rocky period for a team. It's better for them to work through that rocky period, but not during probably a season, probably in between the seasons.
Exactly. That's why you make it a smooth transition during this season.
Yeah. All right. Well, still, guys, Simp is still looking great in the standings, and congratulations to RUlette on the victory. Let's go ahead and recap the scores for tonight. Quite an intense night of World of Tanks, guys, probably because the stakes are so high in the last week. First of all, great series between Fear and I Love Lamp in that tiebreaker.
It really is. There's a lot you guys need to look back to. If you get to, go to fantasywgl.com. Take a look at those example of why these two teams are just really leading the way this week.
Simple Tankers gets the victory over Simply Irresistible. Simply Irresistible had the foresight of saying, we're going to make Simple Tankers work for it, obviously, but we're going to be the kings of Pro Rovka. They tried. Simple Tankers got that victory. And then Hammer Time versus Penguin Mafia.
I mean, Penguin Mafia showed up much better than we have expected them to, and much better than they have in the past. Hammer Time was a little bit, I think, thrown off by the first loss.
Yeah.
And they never quite got on steady
Back
feet.
into their groove.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely won, and they showed some strong presence, but it was just kind of a little bit
I think
clunky. It's a little bit clunky.
The whole time, they were just kind of rubbing their nose saying, ow, that really stinks. That's the way I think it is.
That's a really good way to put it. And the final match of Simp versus RUlette. RUlette was able to take it 5-2. Let's take a look at the non-broadcasted matches that happened tonight. First off, Victoria's Secret 5-1 Noble. RBIS 5-4 Fun Gaming. And a tiebreaker.
Whoa, real quick. Arbis gets 2 more points. That is 20 points, and then Fun Gaming gets to be at 19. That means they're tied, I believe, with RUlette, if I'm thinking about this one right.
Man, of course another
Oh,
tiebreaker. Of course another tiebreaker.
Yep. Okay.
Top tier, Elevate. Elevate is able to defeat top tier. And the Cunninghams versus Timed Out. Walkover for Cunningham's. Timed Out, unfortunately, forfeited their match.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I was hoping they would try to crush more dreams, but something's up.
Let's take a look at the standings overall to where these teams sit. We're only going to take a look at the standings one more time, folks. It's going to be Thursday night. First off, things have changed. Cunningham's the #1 team right now
Your new king.
in the league. The king is dead. Long live the king.
Exactly.
For another 2 days. Simp, second place. Hammer Time in third. Elevate jumping up to fourth, but tied with Simple Tankers. That's a big move for Simple Tankers.
Huge move. It really shows how much they've come along and how they can kind of go up in the standings slowly and climb, become so much better. And no one really noticed. No one was pointing out the Simple Tankers was
Well, we notice
doing
now.
that. We
notice
see it now, Simple Tankers.
I Love Lamp and Fear tied at 26, and Simply Irresistible bringing up the rear in 8th place at 21.
Exactly. After that, we have Arbis at 20, RUlette at 19, Fun Gaming tied at 19. That means RUlette, Fun Gaming now represent that bar that you shall not pass. Below them, top tier and Noble, 17 and 16. I mean, far shot for Noble and top tier to make it in. They have one more match, and Noble has to tie for it. Top tier, well, good luck. They have to tie with Arbis. They can tie with RUlette.
That's a lot of pipe dreams kind of for the rest of those teams.
I mean,
Possibilities are slightly there, but after tomorrow night,
it's a win or it's not. It's your opponents or the right team's losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit, but it's half you, half your opponent's losing. So, I mean, you still got to be like, there's hope alive.
sure.
But-
I mean, teams always want to keep hope alive, but you have to look at the goals of what's going to happen for them next season as well if they're not going to make it to the playoffs. Take a look at what's going to happen Thursday night, our final day of group play, standard group play here for the WGLNA Season 5. RUlette versus RBIS. Ooh.
That's perfect, actually.
Oh, that's good.
That's real nice.
Simp versus Fun Gaming. That's going to be the
Oh.
last shot for Fun Gaming to get away from that tiebreaker.
That's
position.
a lot of things too.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
is.
lot more things. That's if Fun Gaming. Okay,
All right.
just take a
we
look at
can't
the
do too
Simp.
much theory crafting
Yeah,
here.
there's too much.
Hammer Time versus Simple Tankers.
Oh, that's fun too.
That's a
Oh,
huge
man.
matchup. And then the Cunninghams versus Team Fear. Team Fear, the team that defeated Simp last week,
Yes.
up against the Cunninghams. If they can take down the Cunninghams, because of the proximity of how close we are into the playoffs, that's a really scary time for either Cunninghams or Simp. Even if they get seeded into San Francisco, it is anybody's game in San Francisco, man. And that's going to be the closest matchup we're going to have of all 4 teams going to San Fran.
It's and the matches at the end of the season. You couldn't have planned some of them better.
No, this is the best night of tanks, I think, on Thursday, man. I'm getting giddy. This is good. You definitely want to join us in San Francisco, March 15th. It's on a Sunday. I really hope you can make it out. All of us hope you can make it out. It's been a fantastic season so far, and we're getting close to the finish line, but it's still a bit of a journey to get there. $171,000 is at stake. Folsom Street Foundry. It's an awesome location. We're going to have a lot of fun. A lot of wargaming people are going to be there. We're going to be there, obviously. And you get to meet these teams in person. We had a great time there 2 seasons ago for the finals as well.
Oh, yeah, it was great. I loved hanging out with everyone, talking about tanks. Gil Flamino from Mac Tactic was there. So if any of you have used that or have seen us use it on previous broadcasts, he developed that tool. I got to meet him there for the first time.
Gave away a bunch of stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of prizes we're going to have, but there's definitely going to be something there. And, of course, we always love the online crowd watching us as well. Our finals events are always a great time. That does it for our matches today. Randall, last thoughts?
Just absolutely really pleased today with the matches.
All right. Well, that does it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back Thursday, 4:45 Pacific time with the pregame show. First match goes live at 5 o'clock. Thanks for watching. On behalf of everybody here, good night and good game.